So a lot of you have asked me in the past, what lenses do I shoot on? How do I get some of my widest shots? Well, I thought I'd do a little video and tell you some of the lenses that I use. There's a few more over there behind me, but I thought I'd run you through some of the main ones I use, and if you should buy them or not, and what lenses I think you should buy in general if you're starting out. So I did the very classical thing of going straight for compression, but I was also shooting, I went first from a Canon 5D Mark III that I still have now, and in fact, it's the one tattooed. That 5D Mark III was what started my career in photography. And I then upgraded to an R7 when that broke. In fact, I broke it because I got drunk, but that's neither here nor there. That's not a story for today. That's a story for another time. So I went from a full frame to a crop sensor camera. And the reason I mention that is because the size of your sensor will dictate the lenses that you should go for. In general, I would say you want to go for a wider lens first and then work your way to compression. That's coming from someone who shot a lot on compressed lenses at the very start, because I shot a lot of street with my friend Mache. And because of that, I shot on a 72-200 all the time, because it meant I could stay further away from people. I wouldn't bother them, and also I wouldn't have to deal with the whole, oi, why are you taking my photo, you know? I also then bought a 400mm f/5.6 later on to get even further away from people. And yet now I like being up close and personal with my shots and being super wide. So first things first, if you have a crop sensor, if you have a Canon crop sensor, it's a 1.6 times crop, and if you have a Sony, Fuji, Nikon, etc., I think it's all 1.5 times crop. And the reason I say you go wider is because that means that whatever focal length you're shooting at, you then have to multiply that by your crop factor. So let's say you're shooting on a 50 and you're shooting on a 50 on a Sony. Well, now that 50 is a 75. It can be useful in some instances. So for example, if you're shooting trackside, you're shooting nature photography, that kind of stuff there, it proves very useful to have the extra little bit of reach. And I do know some photographers who have an APS-C camera as well as a full frame, specifically for that kind of purpose. That being said, you have to be wary of the lenses you're going to shoot on, because obviously, if you have that crop factor, then your focal length isn't actually what's noted on the lens. And so you want to go wider so that you consider the crop factor afterwards. For example, on my R7, I had a 10-18, which acted as my 16-35 in a way, not exactly to 35, and it was an f3.5 as well. But that worked as my widest lens. And so when I upgraded to the R5 that I'm shooting on right now, one of the first lenses I got was a 16-35, because I realized I love shooting compressed and it's really great, but I need to see a wider scene. And also, when I'm shooting true hybrid, I need a wide lens. Now this is a 24 1.4, and it's great for that subject separation if I want to get something up close, etc. like that, and then have everything blur away in the background. If I want to show you, for example, the tattoos, all that kind of stuff. 24 is like bare minimum of width. Realistically, I always shoot on my 16-35. That's my general consensus. Buy yourself wide lenses first and then work your way to more compressed lenses. Now let's run through some of my lenses, and I will do my utmost to put in photos, overlay the photos on top of the video where they correspond to the lens that I'm showing you. First and foremost, because I do 90% of all my shots on this. Every time someone's like, oh my God, what did you shoot that on? I really want to know. Most of the time, it's on this. This is the Canon 16-35 f2.8. This is the Mark III EF mount, so old school DSLR mount right here. And it gets adapted to the camera with an adapter, of course. There is one on the 50 that I will show you later. But this is a bloody brilliant lens. f2.8 constant aperture. It's also an internal zoom. So for videography, that's brilliant because it means whenever you're balancing your gimbal, you don't have to rebalance it. So internal zooms are really important. That's why internal zooming photo lenses are still brilliant for videography as well. I mean, like I said, 90% of everything I do is on this. The only time I'm not using this, nighttime. If you have a version for Sony, for Nikon, etc., get yourself a 16-35, because this brilliant lens. Honestly, like, I'm so glad I got it. Wasn't cheap though. Wasn't cheap. It was like £900 used. But one lens that also stands out as being extremely wide, and everyone's always like, oh my god, how did you get that shot? I think immediately in my mind to some shots of my friend Tony's Alfa Romeo, where I got shots of the inside. Things like that, super ultra wide, but not fisheye. And that is shot on this. This, if the camera wants to focus, there we go. This is the Brighton Star 9mm f5.6. As you can see, there's a bulbous front element. It is technically a sort of fisheye, but not really, because this is what's called a rectilinear. A rectilinear basically keeps all the lines straight. I explained that correctly. Hopefully I explained that in a concise and easy to understand way. Basically, a fisheye will curve because the wider the lens is, the more it curves the environment around it, therefore lines, etc., all that kind of stuff. And a rectilinear squashes that back out, or sort of like pulls it back out. Now the big benefit to that, and the reason I love this lens, is it makes rollers, both video and photo, feel faster. Because when you get to the edges of the frame on this lens, you get to the edges of the frame, they start stretching out because of the rectilinear element of the lens. And that makes it feel faster, because suddenly the edges of the frame where the road starts disappearing off the frame looks like it's accelerating away. I also quite like it for some very immersive shots. I've had my friend Josh, for example, on his Beamer take shots where he's holding the camera like this basically, and now we're out of focus. But he's holding the camera like this basically, and because it's so wide you can see his whole arm and everything, and he's doing a little selfie kind of thing. I've done that in the past. The inside of cars, that kind of stuff. Environments where usually it feels quite claustrophobic, I shoot on this lens because then you see the whole environment all in one shot. Or things like wheel shots are quite fun because then the wheel is absolutely huge and you feel like you're inside the actual shot itself. Hopefully that makes sense. I doubt it did because I don't make sense very often. So, great lens. Absolutely great lens. If you can pick it up, honestly you should, in my opinion, because I like shooting really wide. Next lens we have, even wider, is Astrahori's 6mm f2.8. Now it's a little bit dusty, and that front element is very dangerous. You have to be very careful when taking on and off the protector. Now that's all dust, it's not scratches. It's a wonderful little lens. Also this, as well as the 9mm, are both manual focus. This is great. It's a fun little lens. I shoot on it from time to time. I've always wanted one. Now I have one, so thank you Astrahori if you're watching this. And I really like it because it's fun. I get to do selfies with it. So I'll take the R5, I'll put this on, do a little selfie like that. And that's really fun with the subject behind. I've done it when I was in Bulgaria, for example. I've done it with the Triumph 400. I need to do more of it. It's really fun. I've done it with some friends as well. It's a fun little gimmicky lens, but that's also sort of a specialized instrument, which, speaking of specialized instruments, you know it, the 105mm f1.4. If you're a photographer and you don't know this lens, you're not actually a photographer, because this is the Bokeh King. This is the lens that everyone was pining over for the longest time, and with good reason. It's a very capable lens. It was also made kind of popular by Mike, North Borders, because he loves shooting on this lens, understandably so. I mean, just look at that front element, man. Like, that's just nuts. And you can see my eye through it. Whoa, that's kind of crazy. If I go this way, that way. So you can see my eye through this because there is so much glass, it's absolutely nuts. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's such a beautiful lens. It is heavy though. It is compact. It is heavy. It is expensive. I think I paid £1,000 for this, and brand new, I believe they cost £1,600. Obviously, this is the EF version because most, if not all, of my lenses are EF mount. The absolute goat of portraiture, bar maybe one lens that's sitting right in front of me as well that I love for portraiture, because this its one downfall for photos is honestly like it's suffering from success. The one downfall it has for portrait photos is how blindingly sharp this is. It's tack sharp, even at 1.4, even wide open, it is so sharp, and it's heavy. It weighs 1.5 kilos. Like, this is dense, beautiful. And for video too, because I don't ever see anyone really making videos with this, like filming using the lens. Oh, for video, it presents itself beautifully. Just a cheat code. Honestly, it's a cheat code. Speaking of cheat codes, this is a lens I have wanted for a very long time. And I finally got one because I wanted to, not because it was useful. This is Canon's EF 50mm f1.2. One of those golden lenses. The ones that Canon photographers especially always want. There was a lens that preceded this that was an f1.0, but those lenses are like £4,000, whereas this was £500. f1.2 in 2003, I think. I think this lens is as old as me. This is a beauty, and to shoot portraits on has a very special quality because it's old, it's soft. But it's soft in the best way possible, in the sense that it smooths out the skin. Hello. How's everyone? It smooths out the skin in just the right kind of way. The softness to the highlights. The 9-bladed aperture doing some cat's eye bokeh in the background. It's honestly lovely. It really, really is. I love it. I mean, I thought as well that I would, start shooting exclusively on the 50 and not the 105 because new lens, etc. But honestly, I kind of balance them out. Some days I feel like the 50, some days I feel like the 105. This big boy is the Sigma 150 to 600. Now, that is just a lens cap right there. This is the lens itself. I'm going to try and center it for you. This is a wonderful lens. Unlock it, extend it, try and center that. It's really difficult. I'm trying to look at my monitor at the same time so I can see if I'm in focus. This lens, brilliant. Honestly, it was like £600 because it's a contemporary. It's not an art. You can see that right there. Contemporary. And yet it's still brilliant. It's still brilliant. Now, the thing you do need to take into consideration is when you start shooting this compressed, you're trying to go through a lot of air and heat as well. Air and heat. And so you need to apply a lot of dehaze to these lenses and the heat that you're shooting through. It's very noticeable, especially when you're on track. When you're on track and you're shooting there at long distances, you'll see the heat haze. And it's not that your camera's out of focus or the lens is missing focus. It's purely that you're shooting through a lot of air molecules and through the heat. And so you're losing focus, or it appears as if you're losing focus because of that. I got some shots at Goodwood that actually show that pretty well. When I went to Brands the other day, I saw some guys shooting on that lens and also on the more modern version, which is the 60 to 600. And I just find myself using all these lenses, especially when I'm doing like a video and stuff, because what I love to do, and I did it with the AMG stuff, is to swap through different focal lengths. Like for example, I mean, I couldn't because I have to figure out how to video with this, but if I took this, which is 6mm, and then I went to this, that's 100 times focal length jump. And so that's kind of jarring in the video, but it helps keep attention because it's jarring. Go with something wider first. And really, if I could suggest any lens to everyone, 16 to 35 f2.8. Whatever the respective lens is for your camera brand, for me it's this, get a 16 to 35 f2.8 because this is a god tier lens for photo and video. Then eventually, obviously, maybe get yourself something like a 50 1.2. Nifty 50 is always good. I wouldn't say go for the 85. I don't. Some people love it. I don't. I think it's either too compressed or not compressed enough. I would rather a 50 over an 85 or a 105 over an 85. I really like the ones I have, which is the 50 and the 105. Let's talk about prices real quick as well before I finish off the video. £500 or £550. I think this was 1,000. That was gifted to me. That was gifted to me. I think they're both in the region of 150 to 200 pounds. This was 900 pounds used, but my God, I've gotten my use case out of it. More than worth it. And this, I think, was 600 pounds or 700 pounds. I can't remember, actually. And what do I think you should start off with if you want to listen to my opinion? Start with wide. Go wide first, then go compressed, because you can always crop in. If you start inventing stuff that wasn't there, then you're not doing photography anymore. Whereas if you're taking stuff out, then that's okay, in my opinion. But then again, why does my opinion matter? I don't know. I'm just doing this YouTube video because I want to do a YouTube video. It's not particularly structured. If you wanted the answers to what lenses I use and what lenses I recommend, there's your answer. 16 to 35, first and foremost, and then you have like your 9mm, your 105, your 50, 6mm sometimes, your 150 to 600. I think I cover most of everything that I need now. Of course, you know, then it's not lenses, but I use a lot of these little guys. If you ever want to try and shoot some content and stuff, they do send these to me, yes, I will admit. However, the Action 6, absolutely brilliant. If you want me to do a full deep dive into like what's in my camera backpack, let me know. And if you want to see more videos, liking this video, even subscribing, that will let me know that you actually want to see it.